Owatonna High School football coach Jeff Williams, looking back on last night's game with Mankato West. Everyone knew West was a good team, and that was a tough one last night for the Huskies.
Yeah, they obviously executed very well. Quarterback was everything that we knew that he would be. We've seen him since he was a sophomore. And, we found ways in the last 2 years to limit his effectiveness by getting a pass rush and kind of getting after him a little bit and hitting him when he decided to pull the ball down and run. And really didn't do much of that last night. He's got a nice cadre of receivers, and they posed pretty significant matchup problems for us. And, they got in behind our secondary a couple of times and also threw the ball underneath our secondary and then made big plays after the catch. So, like I say, their offense in particular was everything that was advertised, everything that we expected, and they were a good football team and very difficult for us to handle.
They ran the ball pretty effective. They popped off some big runs as well.
Yeah, our defensive line is pretty thin right now, and we're still looking for, a few kids who can play, and, that's going to be an ongoing process throughout the course of the season, and, we're going to watch the tape and try to get a sense for, what kids can do what, and try to put them into positions to be successful moving forward.
They kept you guys in some third and longs. What was it about Mankato West defense that made it tough for you guys to move the ball?
Well, again, we had to do some shuffling in the offensive line, and, we had some kids playing some positions that they hadn't played before, which is very unusual for us. Usually we have more of an assembly line in the offensive line where, if a kid's not available, the next kid steps up. But we've been pretty thin in our lines, and we've had to do a little bit of shuffling around. And, kids playing positions that they haven't necessarily, and so that, obviously hurt us a little bit. West linebacker core was outstanding. Their two linebackers, 56 and 5, were all over the field. We had a difficult time running fullback traps. We never really did block a linebacker, and those kids made plays all over the field. Julius had a few nice runs. We were able to get some zone stuff going, which allows us to get to the linebackers a little bit more effectively. But they pursue well. They've got, 10 starters returning on defense, a defense that gave us trouble last year. Mm-hmm. And, we just weren't able to finish drives. We were able to sustain a couple, get 8-9 plays deep into a drive, get some first downs. I thought Alex Emanuelson played very well. Was able to find Isaac Rocha on a couple of occasions throwing the football. I thought he threw on time. I thought the pass protection was very solid, and that was able to, allow us to extend some drives. But ultimately, we weren't able to find pay dirt, and I can't remember the last time that we went into a game and failed to score a touchdown. It's been an awfully long time for us to get shut out. I mean, years. But, it is what it is, and, the tape doesn't lie, and we'll have the opportunity to watch that, as painful as that might be to rehash. We've got to figure some things out moving forward because there are some games still on the horizon that I believe that we can go out and compete in and win, and it's our job to find a way to do that.
As you mentioned, Owatonna did sustain some drives, and early on in the game, got within field goal range. Field goal try missed, and then a drive a little while later on, I think it was 1st and goal and a fumble. So a couple of opportunities for points that slipped by.
Yeah, and that's been a little bit of a story for us this season. Really, other than the Century game, we've had some drives stall, and some drives where weren't able to finish. And some of that is consistently winning the line of scrimmage. We aren't always getting up under people's pads. We aren't always able to drive the defensive line, 2-3 yards upfield.
As far as injuries, a couple of guys limped off the field, or one I think had to be carried off the field. What's a note or two on that from last night?
I don't know too much. We usually let the weekend kind of take care of itself so that, grade 1 ankle sprains usually by Monday are better. I saw Vince Spurgeon, obviously hurt his something, probably more accurately. So we usually let things resolve themselves over the weekend, and then we take a peek on Monday. But it's one of the reasons why we don't come in and practice on Saturday. Our kids go through a pretty extensive battle, and we choose to practice a little bit longer throughout the course of the week, but try to give our kids the weekend to recuperate as much as possible.
Tanner Cole, for being not all that big a guy, he's a pretty punishing runner.
Yeah, he's a tough little kid, and he's not the fastest kid in our program, and he's certainly not the biggest kid in our program. But he puts his head down and puts his shoulder pads out and runs hard, and we're very pleased with him. He's been kind of the workhorse of our B squad this year, and is a kid I think who has a bright future in our program. So that was certainly a bright spot in last night's game, watching him run with football and kind of make some things happen on his own.
Austin is a team that's given up some points. What do you know about the Packers?
Well, they are who they've been the last couple of years. They run very wide splits. They put an athlete at quarterback who can run and throw. They like to throw the ball down the field if they can. They like to run between the tackles by spreading you out and creating seams and gaps. They have not really stopped anyone. I think they've given up 55, 41, 48, and 40 here. So they are having a difficult time controlling the line of scrimmage defensively, and that's something that we're hoping to exploit. We've got to get our machine offense back, in serviceable condition, and we've got to make sure that we do win the line of scrimmage because, Faribault had them 48-0 going into the fourth quarter last night and pulled their starters. Austin typically doesn't ever pull their starters, so they were able to rally back for a couple of touchdowns against Faribault's reserves. But when it was ones-on-ones, Faribault got after Austin pretty well in the line of scrimmage, and so that's something that we're going to have to look to do because we've shown a propensity to give up some big plays on defense, whether it be because of some lack of speed in the secondary or because of some inexperience. And the more that our offense can hold onto the ball and generate drives that ultimately culminate in scores. I mean, obviously that's important. It's one thing to possess the football. It's another thing to possess the football and then ultimately come out with 7 points at the end, and that's where we need to be. But if we can do that, I'm hopeful that we can come out and put up a little bit better performance next week than we did last night. And, that's what you do with young kids. And we are playing a lot of juniors, and it's important that we dust ourselves off and continue to find ways to improve because, the section is still, I believe, up for grabs. Northfield beat Mayo, who, I saw as a potential number 1 seed in the section. When we get to that point in time, Northfield handled Mayo pretty handily, and so Century handled JM pretty handily, and Faribault handled Austin pretty handily. So, we're not giving up on anything. We believe that there are goals out there yet for us to achieve, and it's our job to, like I said before, dust ourselves off, come back on Monday, and is our pride hurt a little bit? Of course it is. I mean, we work hard at this, and we take this very seriously, and when things don't go well, obviously it hurts our pride a little bit. But part of the deal of being big people is to go back and work hard at getting better and seeing if we can win another day.
All right. Well, no doubt the team will be ready to go next Friday night at Austin. Jeff, thanks for the time, and good luck preparing for the Packers.
Thank you very much, Roy.
Huskies coach Jeff Williams on KRFO.